Hello, it's Simone. I am a fountain pen, ink, and journaling YouTuber, and I want to talk to you about a realization that I just had recently when I talked to Leanne from Leanne Likes here on YouTube. If you haven't watched that video, I highly recommend, or both videos, I highly recommend you check them out. But today I just want to talk about myself because that's what I love talking about. I want to talk about myself, what I realized, and what that means for my fountain pen collection. When I talked to Leanne, we talked about using fountain pens, loving the writing experience, exploring how different inks feel in different pens, how different nibs perform, we explored the different nib sizes and all that. And then we both came to the realization that we are probably users and not collectors. And then it totally clicked with me. That's why I have been struggling with collecting so many of the things that I am accumulating because I can't use them all up. And what that means for my growing collection of fountain pens is that I really aspire to have a very small collection. What do I mean by that? And that's the topic of this video. So, just before I filmed the video with Leanne, which then led to that realization, was I decided to restructure, reorganize my collection. Let me move all of this extra stuff aside. I just wanted to show you how many pens I currently own. They are 33. I am in the process of offering up one of them, which is this one right here. This is a Narwhal or Navalur Original Plus. It is a vacuum filler fountain pen. So if you're interested in purchasing it and it hasn't sold yet, please reach out to me. It has a fine nib. It's the Azureus Blue. That's how I would pronounce it. It's a beautiful fountain pen. It's super affordable and it does an amazing job at writing, but it's just not a pen that I would like to keep in my collection because I'm not a collector and it doesn't get enough use in my collection to stay longer. So I would rather have it move to a different place and be loved more than here in my pen collection. So that's a little tangent right here. If you want to have close-up photos or just have another look at this pen, let me know and I will shoot you an email with maybe a video, another one. I also have a video of this pen on my channel. So if you want to check that out, I will link it in the description box down below or in the cards. So this is number 33. Let's just put it this way. And so I took all the pens that I would consider, what are those? I took all the pens that I have for specific purposes, that I have for testing out nibs, for shimmer inks, that I don't necessarily, or low-end fountain pens, let's put it low-end fountain pens. I put them all into this pen case that I purchased years ago and never really used. So that's where they are living right now. These are all pens that I'm not necessarily drawn to using. These are pens that I don't necessarily want to sell either because they might serve a very specific purpose, or I just wanted them to experience them for testing, like this cursive calligraphy medium nib. or that have some kind of sentimental value, as with this one. This is my son's first fountain pen. One of my son's first fountain pens. These have different nib widths, and I like the color, and their price is not as high that I would feel the need to sell them in order to recover money, or I'm thinking that I might want to use them at some point. And then also some of those pens I have used, and since I am a user, I don't necessarily take too good care of my pens, especially when they're cheap like this. So this is more of a exploration pen case where I have pens that serve those purposes, but they are not necessarily near and dear to my heart, and I love them, and they bring me joy. That's like, if you have a word for what this is my exploration pen case. I would probably use, maybe if I wanted to explore an ink with different nib widths, I would use these. I have multiple medium nibs, but I have an extra fine, a medium, a broad, and a 1.1 stub nib. All of the TWSBI Ecos, so that I can use those pens to explore one specific ink with all the nibs. That's why I wanted to have a complete collection of TWSBI nibs. And also, TWSBIs are really good writers too. If I had known about the TWSBI Go, I would probably have used this as that extra fine. I'm not sure they have this pen in all the nib widths, but I would probably have just gotten this one instead. Yeah, so these are the ones that it doesn't really make sense to sell them on. And so I took them out because I will use them for various different things in the future. This is a 20 slot gallon leather pen case. And this houses all the collection pens, all the ones that I want to use, that I want to enjoy, that bring me joy. And my goal is to only have as many pens as fit in here. Because I realized in that talk with Leanne that if I have 20 pens in my collection and I am inking up this month, I'm filming this in March. I'm not sure when I'm exactly showing this to you. I am inking up, this is inked, and this is inked. This is my currently inked rotation. This is almost empty, so this will be replaced with one by the end of the week. But when I'm going to film my currently inked rotation, these are all the pens that I have inked. So instead of my usual 9 to 10 pens, this month I only have 7. So let's say I am inking up, what is a good number divided by 6 is not a good number. But if I were to ink up 6 pens each month and I was going to change out the pens every month, each pen would be used every 3 months. If I had 40 pens and I inked up 10 pens every month, which again I don't do this month, then each pen would have a 4. Every 4 months, each pen would reoccur. So over the span of a year, I would use this pen only 3 times, if that makes sense. So the less fountain pens I have in my collection, the more I get to use them. And that math and the realization that I can't, this pen I haven't used with, I have two nibs for this, a medium nib and an extra fine SIG nib. I haven't used this extra fine SIG nib since September of 2022. It is now currently March of 2022. So this month I'm not using that. So I feel kind of pressured to use that extra fine SIG nib again really soon. So maybe in April I will use this. But when I have less pens, I will be able to explore, understand, familiarize myself with all of those pens that I have in this collection more. And then I will more quickly understand if I love this pen, if this pen needs to stay because there's no other pen in the world that can give me that specific performance that this pen has, the writing experience, the ink flow, all of those things. Or if it is a generic pen that can be replaced with a different pen that maybe I like more. Of course, I am still very much in the beginning of my fountain pen exploration and using, and so maybe this pen is generic to some of you because it just has a medium nib. For me, it still gives me a different writing experience than maybe a TWSBI Eco that has a smaller nib, because I learned in the past year that I'm really drawn to nibs that are bigger sized. So when I am purchasing pens from now on, I am making sure that my nibs, so that this is one of the questions that I'm asking myself. Does it have a number 6 size nib? If it doesn't, why do I think I want a nib that is smaller when I already know that I might not necessarily enjoy that as much as a number 6 nib? So that's where I am at right now. And why I came on here today is because it just feels so right to me. And yes, of course, I'm going to pull out my list of pens and show you that, of course, I do want to use nib pens and I want to use more. I would love to use a TWSBI Diamond 580 because I had one when I just started out with fountain pens in 2017 and it just didn't work for me. And I would love to use one just to see how I think about it now. I might not want to keep that pen, or I would love to use a number 15 size Pilot nib that is basically, I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is similar to the, now I'm like going deep. This is a similar size than the TWSBI Eco nibs, but the Pilot number 15 size nib is more similar to the TWSBI VAC 700 nib. So I would really love to experience a gold nib, a Pilot, specifically a Pilot gold nib that has the bigger nib. Does that make sense to you? So I do have lots of pens on my list, but I also want to make sure that while I might try these pens, maybe I can try somebody else's pen. Or maybe somebody out there in the fountain pen community has a pen on my list that they are not using and they would borrow or lend it to me for a while so that I can experience it and then decide, is that a pen that I would want to add to my collection? So yeah, and so I have currently, this one is one of those pens. This one is also one of those pens. A Kakuno, that's where I would categorize those two, is one of the pink pens, the pink pen case pens. But I currently have this many pens. Oh, let me quickly talk about these. These are my everyday carry pens. So I have a Traveler's Notebook, Traveler's Company brass pen that I use, that I have a specific constant use case for. It is the pen that I use in my weekly journal. This is a Ototashe fountain pen that I have inked. All of these three are inked with platinum carbon black ink. I have it on my Hobonichi Day Free right here that I use. I use this pen only in this notebook. I have a specific use case for it. And then this pen is my everyday carry black fountain pen that I use everywhere else, and it goes in here. And it probably will be dinged up and maybe replaced at some point because I just really love the extra fine TWSBI nib. Since this is a very high maintenance ink, I really don't want to use a more expensive pen for this, and it does work really well. The cap of this TWSBI has a really great seal, so when I use this pen, it writes every time. I don't have to think about it drying out or anything. So this is also not one of those pens that I would consider a play collection pen. I want to show you how many pens I have in my collection right now. So I do currently have, let's put this one here and let's put this one here. So these, I would say, are all the pens that are near and dear to my heart. And I have 4 spaces left, so I will be able to add more before I have to start doing the 1 in, 1 out rule. But yeah, I feel so much better after I have realized that that's where I want to go for now. Maybe that changes at some point and I become a collector and I want to have all of the Kaweco Sports, or I want to have all of the TWSBI Ecos, or I want to have one of each of the Pelican pens. That might happen, but then I'm not necessarily collecting those pens for the purpose of using them all and exploring them and enjoying the writing experience. Maybe then I am collecting those because I really feel like I need to complete that collection. And then that's totally valid too. And I really want to put it out there that this is what I think will work for me. But if you have 200 fountain pens, more, less, whatever number, if that works for you, I am really, really happy for you. I think that as long as you are loving the way that you are using your fountain pens, as long as you are using and even if it's just the love that you experience when you open up that pen and you ink it up for the first time and it ticks all those boxes, and that's all the joy that you get out of that. I don't believe that that's true. This also is a valid form of enjoying fountain pens, if that's what works for you. For me, I notice that when I have too much of something, that I'm starting to get stressed, that I suddenly start to not enjoy that hobby that I am currently enjoying so much anymore. And so this way of thinking about it will probably work for me. And I think 20 is definitely a good number. And if I at some point say, well, 35 is a good number, that's okay too. It's never about staying in those fixed rules and regulations, but having something in place that gives you the comfort of, yes, this is okay. I can deal with this. It does work for me. And so this at the moment is where I am at. Yeah, it feels really great. So I'm currently exploring these two. I already did, and I decided that nope, this pen is not for me. I would really love to pass it along to someone who would give it a better home. I'm currently trying this one with an ink. I might keep it a little bit longer in my collection and decide that it has a place. But I'm currently on the fence of if this is a pen that will stay in my collection. So if you are looking for one, I might be swayed to sell. Let me know. Shoot me an email. I think you know my email address. It's simone@gmail.com. It's the easiest one of them all. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to exploring some more, to enjoying all of those pens that I currently own. I am getting a new one. You probably saw it already. I can't wait to explore that. What I also, before I'm going to end this video, I am also thinking of, I don't have to have a fountain pen to enjoy various different nibs. I could just get, this is also a number 6 size nib, by the way. Various different number 6 size nibs. I have a pen that works really well that I can use these nibs on. Maybe I would get another one so that I can enjoy more than just one of those nibs at one time. But that's where my thinking currently is, and I really like that. Also, let me try if I can get that subscribe thingy in. You know what this pen is? It's red. And you know what else is red? The subscribe button. So if you haven't subscribed already, maybe now is the time to do so. I really need to work on those, but I love them and I want to keep doing those. So yeah, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. I really enjoy talking to you. You're the only people that I can talk to that understand where I'm coming from. So I'm always, always appreciative of you watching, commenting, and keeping that conversation going. I thank you so much, and I hope to see you soon. Until then, bye.